Hey there, today I'm sharing with you something so special to me. I'm going to be making with you a pair of earrings that I first made for my mom probably over 20 years ago using this figure 8 design. I'll put a picture of what I gave her, and I think it's about time that she gets an upgrade. She's been wearing these earrings for, like I said, over 20 years, and you can tell they've had a lot of love, a lot of wear, and being that they're a figure 8, I think it's perfect for my mom's 80th birthday. Time to use real sterling silver and real gemstones for the most special lady in my life, and I look forward to sharing you an example what I'm going to make for her. Here's an example of what I have available on my website using this wonderful classic figure 8 design. This is just a sterling silver coin, labradorite coins, and this is black spinel. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. So I just want to honor my mom and help you make some earrings for yourself using this classic design that looks great with anything that you would wear. So come along, grab some tools. We're going to make these great classic earrings today. So for my mom's earrings, and something that maybe you could do as well, you see in the original, I had just used, I think it was just some steel wire and some glass beads, and I thought for a great upgrade, I found, I love coin beads. I think they're great. You get the impact of the stone and its beauty, but it's thin, and so you're not getting the weight. So I love, love, love coin beads, and I found these two magnificent amethyst beads that have kind of this geometric shape naturally embedded into the stone. And then as in the example, you see that I had a couple little accent beads on the ear wire, so I found a couple small beads that would actually fit on my 20 gauge wire. So not exactly what I wanted. I want a little bit bigger, but these were the only ones I could find in my stash that fit 20 gauge wire. So we're going to make these work for my mom. Tools and supplies for today's project. I am going to use 16 gauge wire for that figure 8 pattern. You're going to need some chain nose pliers. I don't even use round nose pliers. Can I just say that? I always use a 6-stepped bail making pliers for round shapes, and of course flush cutters, a ruler, possibly, this is optional, a bench block and a hammer if you want to do any hammering onto that figure 8 shape, and then of course beads of your choice. Let's get ready and do this together. First, what we need is to cut 2 inches of our 16 gauge wire. You can use copper or whatever that you have. This is for the figure 8 shape. You'll need 2 inches, roughly 5 centimeters, if you're using a metric system. I just use the piece that I cut to measure the second time. You get more of an accurate, they both match kind of cut. In a previous video, I showed you this wonderful handy dandy tool that I came across in Marshall's, and I use this. It's a quick grab and go tool to sand the end of your wires. I find it even more adaptable to whatever you're working on than just one of those cut burrs for the end of the wire, because you can only do an end of a wire with that tool, and with this you can do all different kinds of areas on your tool that on your piece that just need a little bit of sanding or filing. So I find that this is great. This is just a Dremel attachment that just happens to fit in this. So, but also when you pick one of these up at Marshall's or wherever, it comes with sanding and file tips on it for your nails. This is a fingernail manicure tool. So this is a great little, and it's so lightweight. It's just charges with a wire, with a cord, and it's ready to go. No batteries, just charge it. And I just like to clean up the end of my wires, smooth them out a little bit. I will have to trim one of these sides. I can't, I never know which side it's going to be, so I just clean up the edges while I'm at it. All right, now that those are cleaned up, get your bail making pliers. The small loop uses the first bail, and then the larger part of the figure 8 uses the largest. Aha, imagine that. So that should be easy to remember. So take your pliers, put it right on the end of your wire so that you can't really see it or feel it, and grab very firmly. I don't know what it is with this wire. From now on, I'm just buying dead soft wire. It just makes it easier. I can make it harder, but this wire is so stiff. It's way more than half hard. So I really have to grip it really very, very tightly to make sure the loop doesn't slip out. All right, we've done the one small end. Flip it around, put it into your bail pliers so that it looks like this. So now we're ready to wrap around and make that larger end of the figure 8. Press close to the bail and just wrap around. Now there's no more where to move it much, really, so just turn your wire on the pliers, and then you can bend it with your finger, but it's a little hard, and if you're doing a lot of earrings like this at one time, you're going to tear the end of your finger up. So I just get some pliers and then just pull it around so that it's almost like you're making a figure 8. We're going to have to trim the end, but that's the goal. You want to line up the side of this loop with this side here that we just wrapped around. So that's the goal with that. Let's do this again so you see exactly what I was doing. I am right-handed. Flip it around, Carrie. Okay, so I am in a little silly mood today, and it's great having you here. I love showing you these tutorials, and I love sharing you a little bit about myself, and just that, you know, I have a great mom, and I wanted to take you on this journey of making these earrings for her. She absolutely loves the first pair, as you can tell. She wears them all the time. And I think it's about time the sweet woman, she deserves an upgrade. So it's great having you here showing you this. Now, don't tell her. Don't tell her I'm making these. It's a surprise. Don't worry. She won't find out. The sweet woman, she doesn't even have email, so she's never going to see this on YouTube. So believe me, it will be a surprise. All right. So we've got our 2 pairs sets that already looks like an 8, but we're going to trim off this edge. I like to open it up just a little bit so I can get my flush cutters in there. And I kind of feel, I put the tip of the flush cutters on this back portion, kind of so I can really feel where the edge is. And then I just snip off that little end. Now this is the end, you know, I want to clean this up a little bit more before I tuck it back in there into my little figure 8 shape. Just going to clean that up a little bit. And then bring it back into alignment. Now this is where once you get both of them cleaned up, you can put it on your bench block and hammer out and do some things like that. Again, we're going to snip off this excess. You need the excess to be able to wrap it. So unfortunately, there is a little bit of waste, but you know, mama's worth it. Putting it right the edge of the flush cutters on the back loop so we get it nice and lined up. And just snip it off. Oh, I didn't do my little handy dandy manicure tool. Just cleaning it up a little bit so it's a little smoother. Round it out. Finished edge. Okay. And then bring it back into alignment. I think I will, at some point, put this on the bench block just to get it nice and flat. Maybe not. Maybe it's okay. All right, if there is, I see just a little adjustment that I could make is maybe just pop this back in here and bring it in tighter a little bit. All right, so that basically forms our figure 8s. The next part is attaching our glorious beads, whatever you have chosen. Look at these. Absolutely. Look at this wonderful geometric shape that's just naturally into the stone. I saw that and I'm like, oh, yes. These are the only 2 in my whole bag that kind of look like that. So unfortunately, and fortunately, these will be one of a kind. Here's where that 20 gauge wire comes in that I forgot to mention when I was telling you what you're going to need. This is going to attach our stone to the figure eight, and I'm just roughly guessing that maybe you'll need about 2 inches. Now you could need more, maybe even less if your stone is smaller, but I need at least enough to get through the stone and have enough to wrap and make the loop. So I'm going to use 2 inches. You'll also need 2 inches of wire when we go ahead and do the ear wires. I'm going to show you how to make a head pin for these setting of the stone on the earrings without having a pre-made head pin. If you don't have one, it's no big deal at all. You could super easy by just taking the end of the wire, bending it back, and then just pinching it closed. Maybe. And this will form a nice little stopper to the end of the wire that the stone is going to rest on. So many things. It's nice to have ready-made stuff, and many times it can look nicer, but it's so nice to, how can you make it work if you don't have anything ready-made? Many a times I run into that issue. So it's always good to know how to make some basic elements for your pieces that you're working on. All right, so this is where I'm going to make the loop and the wrap that is going to attach to the figure eight. All right, I'm going to snug my bail pliers right up against the stone. You got to kind of think ahead at the time. I need the loop to go straight forward to attach properly to the figure eight. So I'm going to bring it forward. I'm sorry about that. I turned my pliers, so now that I can access the second step on the pliers, turning the pliers and wrapping around that long end. I heard this once on another tutorial that you're kind of making a little scarf on a person, right? As we're heading into fall, boo-hoo. All right, do not wrap yet. This is where we have to attach our figure eight. So you just slide it on, pop it right into that little loop that we made. Take your chain nose pliers, hold that loop gently but firmly so you don't lose it, and then just do however many wraps that's going to take you down nice and snug to the stone. And remember, our wrap is setting like this, so we need to figure out which side. Okay, I'm going to wrap this a little bit more. Holding that tight, just so we get a nice finished front, possibly. I'm just going to trim off this excess that we have on the back. Save your piece, grab your chain nose pliers, and then tuck in the end. So there we are with this one. I want to turn this so that the stone is more like that. There we go. Let's do this another time to attach the stone to the second one. Another 2-inch piece of wire or whatever would work for what you are doing, whatever stone that you're using. Remember, we're going to make our own ready-made head pins. Grabbing the end and just gently turning in. I want you to be able to see, because lots of times it's always trying to focus on the thing that's in the back. And then you don't need to see the fuzz. Just gently squeeze that in on itself. Very good. I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. Slide on your stone. The hole on this stone is so big, I probably could have used maybe 18 gauge or something, but this will work. This is fine. Alrighty, bail pliers, bending back over the small step, turning so now that we can push that wire over the second step, turning, and then bringing around that long portion of the wire. Now, don't start wrapping. So many times I just get so into it and I start wrapping. This is where we attach the figure 8. And I want this side to be in the front. So I got to think about that. And then just start putting some wraps in there so that it comes down and meets the stone and snuggles it in there. I want it to sit like that. There we go. And maybe I want that side because this one's got 3 wraps. It's always an adjustment. Straighten that out a little bit.
Two hours later.
There we go. Snip off the end. And then tuck that little leftover down in there. This is the side that I want to come in the front. And here we go. We've got our 2 bottom pieces to our earrings. Just a very classic, lovely design. We're going to make some ear wires now for these lovely earrings that we just made together. I've already cut pieces of 20 gauge wire. They're just under 2 inches. I kind of like that mark. Seems to be good for what I like to do. If you want to make it longer, you like a long, just cut it longer or however you would like. Grab your stepped pliers. We're going to wrap around the end of this wire using the smallest bail. It's already got a curve to the wire. I like to just go with it's already there. Makes it a little easier. And we're going to loop on the end of that wire till it touches the other side. Now this is where we can attach this little bead, free to leave it bare. Feel free to leave it plain if you would like. I just thought I would add that since I did in the original. Bail pliers again, we're going to turn our wire so it looks like this in the pliers. Now don't worry about that bead going anywhere. Once we make this loop for the earlobe part, that little bead's not going to go anywhere. It'll move around a little bit, but it's not going to go anywhere. Using the 5th step, we're making the part that goes to the earlobe, wrap it around till it just touches that first loop. See, it moves around a little bit, but it's not going to go anywhere. Let's do that again. Making a small loop on one end of the wire that I have already used my handy dandy tool and cleaned up the edges. Slip on your bead, your little accent bead. Love these little amethysts. They are just adorable. Turning the wire so that it's positioned like this in your bail pliers around the 5th step, making that part that goes through your earlobe. Wrap around till it just touches the first loop and you're done basically. I'll put one more final touch, is that little whoop at the end of your ear wire. Make sure I'm right at the end. Just putting a gentle curve. Get these wonderful earrings out that we just made. We're going to open this loop. And let's make sure I got it the way I want it, that the front side is forward, and slip on the earring. Let's put the other one on. Opening the loop. Make sure I have the right side going forward. Oh, I need to open it just a little bit more. Always remember to open it like a barn door, not pulling your loop open, because then you kind of ruin the shape. This way you maintain the shape. Back in the same motion until it's closed. And there you have a lovely figure 8 pair of earrings. Maybe for your mom or someone special in your life. You think it's an improvement on the original? I think so. If you are interested in any of the pairs that I had previously shown you that I had made, they are available on my website, carriefiscato.com, carriefiscatodesign.com. In the jewelry portion of the website, I'd love to have you visit. I'd love to have you visit all my other social media. As always, thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing, and of course, subscribing. And most of all, I appreciate you wishing happy birthday to my mom by making these earrings with me today. I so look forward to seeing you in the next video.